Drop by to ask questions, you say? Sounds reckless. I bought 5 of my finest men, Bonebrow says. I know servants of thugs can lie, so I also bought one of the mages of the Red Hound Guild, a truthsayer. I would have rather bought a priest or paladin of Aletheia, but even I know better than to bring rival gods together. Bonebrow stumbles, holds his stomach. You put a hand on his shoulder. If this massive man begins to fall, there's little you can do. They were ready for us. That much I know. He says through clenched teeth. The ambush was too well laid. They captured myself, the truthsayer, and my lieutenant. The rest was slain outright. What happened to the other captives, the mage and lieutenant, you say? He shakes his head. Butchered. I saw their bodies just before they were kicked into the waters, probably to feed that hideous monster. Do you suppose the thug priestess took their faces before disposing of them? You say, yes. I saw Cleaver's face among those thug scum. Cleaver is my lieutenant. They say they probably took the mage's face as well, says Bonebrow. Then we are fucked. I don't think that we have any chance. We should probably book it from the city, honestly. We are not gonna fucking make it at this point. They probably took the mage's face as well, says Bonebrow. If they have taken our other faces, then we truly must be careful whom we trust, you say. Did you learn anything of their plot? Bonebrow shakes his head. They focused on their ritual. All they said was that Thog would soon be flesh of this world. Thog will be flesh, you repeat and whisper. Bonebrow groans and falls to his knees. Thog will be flesh probably means they're about to summon like a demon, or like I would normally make sense that Thog would come himself, but I highly doubt an fucking elder god would manifest himself into the lower world. But we'll see, we'll see. Get up, you whisper urgently. I cannot carry you. Do not then, he whispers. Drool begins to crawl down his chin. Leave me to the jackals of men, he says as he falls down onto all fours. Gods, maybe I can hide you and come back, you whisper. Do not die just yet, you owe me coin. He looks at you, his eyes are glazed over. I jest, you say. Come on now. The city needs a good soldier or two. He collapses onto his face, his limbs splayed. His body continues to rise and fall. He's still breathing at least. You look up to the rooftops. Irenova, you call. She cannot come down from the roofs, you think. Maybe she will break her covenant for Bonebrow, though. You never got to ask Bonebrow if he knew the vampire. Irenova wouldn't trick you into rescuing Bonebrow only to letting him die on the street. A shadow passes above you, at least you think so. You peer harder onto the starlit sky. Wait, what? Isn't this morning time? It did say that the sun was coming out. So is it like that early in the morning that we can still see the stars but the sun is kinda coming out? Is that it? That shouldn't be the case. Let's see. The shadow passes above, at least you think so. You peer harder into the starlight sky above, scanning the rooftops. You hear the creaking of a door opening. There are shouts from some distance behind you. No doubt someone has found the bodies you've been leaving behind. Egra, you say, save him. I'm not the healing sort, she says. You ought to know this by now. Can I use that command spell on him? Command him to live, you ask. Oh my, you're a creative one, she asks. Alas, that would certainly not work and will only be a waste of favor from my father. In any case, do not fret. All mortals die anyway. Irnova, you call up to the rooftops again. Suddenly you fear a presence. A flood of fear courses into you and your muscles tense for flight. You look back. The woman you attempted to rescue standing motionless several meters behind. At least you're almost positive it's her. The street is dark, it's hard to tell. What do you think she is? I highly doubt she's a servant of the wizard Kalak, or they would not be fucking her over like that. She is definitely not a slave of Thog, and the Reaper boys are probably some gang. They're just probably fucking with her because she is yeah, they're probably fucking with her because, you know, gang people, I guess. Because she's different and, you know, she's a doll or whatever. And they must be like, oh, what the fuck is that freak all about? That's probably why they're fucking with her. So I'm gonna go with the follower of the Oher, the trickster god. She must be a follower of Oher, the trickster god, you think. She is not, says Egra. Then why were you so eager to help her? You say. It pleased me to lend aid, says Egra. Perhaps next time it will not. You bow your head to the woman before you. I too respect your master. I am a servant of his, you could say. The strange woman tilts her head at you. Her face is without expression. You have no idea what she thinks of this. She is not one of my fathers, says Egra. The weight of your proof is lighter than a feather. Just what the daughter of the trickster god would say, you say. The weight of your proof is lighter than a feather. What the hell does that mean? I mean, I get the sentence what it means, but like, why is she saying that? We are not proving anything. What are you talking about? Oh, because we said this. I respect your master and I'm a servant of his as well, because that sounds absurd. Um, Regardless, this would be a dull trick, says Egra. Something in her tone tells you that she might be telling the truth. This might be worth remembering later. You say as you smile towards the strange woman. Well met, I'm Rooster, what might your name be? She opens her mouth, but only a small groan comes out. She's made of wood, says Egra. I see it now, she's a puppet. Of course, you realize. And remember what was familiar about her. She's similar to the puppets you saw in the puppet maker shop. I don't even remember that. She's with House Ruda here, Egra says. Egra must be reliving your memories with you. Okay, that's random. Why is House Ruda here? I mean, technically House Ruda here is here. Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Right. When we started Rogue's Choice in the first chapter, at the end of the first chapter, we went to pay money to 10 gold to that lady, I think it was, in that little shop where there were all sorts of oddities, and we got a parchment that said, yeah, look, I need a sign on this or something like that. Yeah, so it might be her puppet. You're of House Ruda here, you say out loud. I have business with your masters. I'm a friend to you and your house. The word friend is a stretch, but it's true that you are of some value to Ruda here. After all, you owe them a fair share of coin. How much? She steps closer. Now that you know what to look for, it's clear that you're correct. Her skin is polished. Her skin is polished wood, blotched and speckled with drying blood. Her eyes glisten and look almost human, but you can now see that it is lacquer that provides the shine. There is a trickle of what appears to be oil at the joint of one of her elbows. This lubrication must be how she moves so silently. Well, this explains her fear of the torch earlier, says Egra. If I were a wooden puppet slathered in oil, I would fear fire too. You are just now realizing that she's a puppet. Did you not already know, you ask? You're a godling. I see what you see, smell what you smell, feel what you feel, and hear what... Got it, you say, interrupting her. And taste what you taste, she finishes. Also, I have never seen one of these creatures before. I recommend you make friends. You're adept at befriending unusual women. Say, maybe you could assist us, you say to the puppet woman. This good man is in a sorry state, and you let your sentence die off as she walks swiftly towards you in a herky-jerky motion. You nearly trip in your haste as you step back. She leans down, scoops Bonebrow into her arms as though he were a mere baby. Very good, you say, so very strong. If it's not too much trouble, please follow me. You begin to... That makes sense. I mean, she was not a good fighter, but she actually is made out of wood. So yeah, it's basically getting hit by a club when she swings. Okay. Very good, you say. So yeah, I've read all this. You begin to jog down the street. The puppet woman easily keeps pace with you. Bonebrow's head and limbs sway with her motion. My friends call me Rooster. What do they call you? You ask. She opens her mouth, a rectangular hole. She emits a long groan. Sorry, I didn't catch that. You say in between breaths. She groans again, only louder. You ask. He hitches his shoulder up in what you suppose is a shrug. A pair of young women with red sashes are ahead. Their eyes open wide as you draw near. One of them holds up his lantern. Oh, it's men, okay. His lantern. You brandish your mace and lets out something that... I'm not even sure how do I say that. Lets out something that sounds like a snarl. The men leap out of your way and press themselves to the wall of the building. You pick up the speed and your party of 3 pass by quickly. Wise of them to make way for the massive bloody puppet, says Egra. Other people make way for you as well, fear on the faces of most. Yet there are also angry shouts from some. Perhaps an agent of House Ruda here is not so popular in this district, says Egra in your mind. Judging by the trouble she found herself in earlier, I'd make the same wager, you say. That reminds me, also they are sentient, right? They are sentient? How did they... See, this is what I'm talking about. Like, their world cannot figure out healing potions, their world cannot figure out mana stones, but their world can seriously figure out how to make a golem that is sentient, like a spirit AI. Seriously? A spirit intelligence. That's what we got in here. Seriously. That is ridiculous. But... I don't understand. What is the name again? Sand Landstorm? If you're watching this, I need you to give me a proper explanation how the magic works in this game. I've been through the entire Wizard's Choice and I'm going through, just rushing through Rogue's Choice at this point, and I still don't get it. I still don't get it. Why is the magic like this? Oh man. Yeah, the magic is so weird. You don't even get stronger as your magic gets stronger. Like, I guess your mana capacity increases. That's the biggest thing was in Wizard's Choice, I suppose. It never even felt like your mana capacity was increasing. It just felt like you were given more mana at some point. Like, if at the start of the game you found a big batch of mana which would give you 100 mana, you immediately would have 100 mana. It feels like your mana capacity is at max at all times, but who knows? What can I say? But regardless, let's move on. Judging by the trouble she found herself in earlier, I'd make the same wager, you say. That reminds you that you need a destination. The two places that come to mind are the Temple of Aletheia and the Leering Virgin Inn. You don't know the city very well, yet you estimate that the inn is a little closer. Alternatively, you could try to leave the streets altogether, go up to the rooftop. The problem is that all the stories are at least 2 buildings high. As strong as Ung is, you doubt she could jump 2 stories, not with Bonebrow. That leaves climbing again, a difficult feat with that load. A rope would make this easier, but there's nothing in hand. Even if you can, all get onto the roof safely, you're not sure what Ironova will think of you bringing the puppet up to her. What temple are we going to again? Temple of Aletheia? I'm not dumb, okay. Wait, I mean, I could go to Temple of Aletheia technically, because if I go to the Temple of Aletheia, they could probably heal Bonebrow, but then again, a new Captain of Guard must be up on that, so that's probably not a good idea now that I think about it. I could go to the inn, but the fucking, what are they called? Reaper Boys. It sounds so cool. Reaper Boys must be out in the streets, and they must have heard that someone's running around with a puppet, so I think going onto the roof is probably the best idea we could probably have. Stop running and face the puppet. It's not safest on the street. You need to climb onto the roof. Can you climb? The puppet tilts her head for a moment, then nods. While carrying him, you're still pointing at Bonebrow. She looks at the man in her arms and lets out a low groan. Hector chuckles in her mind. I think I know a way, you say. If there's one thing I know, it's climbing. Hector chuckles in, okay, so it's just me saying that. I thought she was saying that. I was like, why is Egra knows how to climb? You resume jogging and motion for the puppet woman to follow. Soon you found a promising spot, a narrow alley with a rough-hewn wall on each side. You trot onto the alley and begin shimming up the wall. Your legs press on one wall, palms of your hand pressed against the opposite. The puppet is soon below you, watching your progress. As you near the top, she begins to climb, mimicking your technique, except she only uses one hand to climb, while the other holds onto the dangling bone. How strong is she? Fucking hell. Soon you're standing on the roof. Immediately there's rustle behind you. Spin around to see Ironova's white fang in the starlight, only a meter away or so. She only a meter away? Why is she always sneaking about like that? Her eyes are dark, pitiless. She stands very still like a gargoyle statue. Bonebrow's limp body is flung over the eaves of the roof, his head thudding lightly on the tile. Then climbs up. You presume much to bring him here, says Ironova. This is who you sent me into that temple of death to rescue, is it not, you say? Stands up, bows lightly to the vampire. Why is she bowing to the vampire? The vampire only glares at the puppet. You know each other, you say? As much as I know any of their constructs, you says Ironova. The house and my master have an understanding. Don't imagine a wooden throat would be to your liking anyway, you say with a smirk. What does that mean? Does that mean something? Don't imagine a wooden throat would be to your liking anyway? For kissing? Is that it? I don't... Oh, because she can't bite into her throat, right? That makes sense. You see with a smirk. Ironova ignores you as she leaps to Bonebrow's side, leans down and inhales. His blood still flows, yet his pulse is weak. She tenderly brushes Bonebrow's hair out of his eyes. Take him to the Temple of Aletheia. Yes, that was my plan, you say. Ironova turns to the puppet. You will carry him safely to the door of Temple of Aletheia. Picks Bonebrow up and slings him over her shoulder. The puppet then springs onto the next roof, shattering tiles under its combined weight as she continues to run. In a second, she is on yet another roof. Enjoy your evening, you call back to Ironova as you run after the puppet. And thank you for not killing me. Well, she almost did get me killed. Burden as the puppet is, it still takes all your skill and endurance to keep up with her. She never hesitates to get her bearings or plan the next jump. It is as though the map of the city is embedded into her wooden core, which isn't to say that she is a perfect